What's up, YouTube? Another horsetails. This one is a little off the normal. I used to deer hunt quite a bit every year, and of course, the year after the season after my motorcycle accident, I missed that year. The following year, 1999, I was able to go. I was walking around pretty good, getting along pretty well, and you know, as if I wasn't challenged enough, it was actually shotgun season, but I chose to use my 50 caliber muzzleloader. I practiced with it a good bit and got rather good with it. There's nothing wrong with the sabbated bullets, where the bullet itself is actually smaller and it has like a plastic jacket on it. But I use the old ball patch, regular powder, side hammer, classic old style black powder rifle. And I went down there. Of course, I took my shotgun too, just in case it rained. The black powder is a little bit more susceptible to rain than shotgun with the slugs in it. So I went down to southern Ohio. It's Lawrence County. It's not real close to Terry, WTBM 123, but it's pretty close. You might even know where it's at. It's just northeast of Ironton, a little bit. It's between there and a town called Oak Hill. It's where our deer cabin was at the time. Since then, my uncle's family is the ones that owned it, and they all passed away, including my uncle. I think it's went back to the state to they sold it back to the state to help pay some taxes and stuff on it, because it was getting kind of out of hand. But anyways, the state Wayne National Forest kind of surrounds it down there. Yeah, first day I went out, I didn't see a whole lot, and it was my usual spot. Didn't see a whole lot of activity, and it wasn't real warm, but it was, you know, pretty warm for deer season. It was in the 40s and 50s, and my uncle, who's older, you know, he just went out in the mornings and then went back in the evenings, come back to the cabin. I tried to stay out all day. He told me that Wednesday morning, he said, I'm going to stay out all day. I was like, okay. And so I'm out there sitting on the side of this hill in a different spot. This is complete opposite corner where I normally deer hunt. Road's, you know, 300 or 400 yards up the hill behind me. And I'm sitting there. All of a sudden, this was about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, I hear a truck go by and it stops. The door opens, and I hear two guys talking, and I hear the one guy say, "Man, did you see the size of that thing?" And the other guy goes, "That's a monster, man." Okay, well, they might be talking about a deer, or, you know, maybe an actual monster, I don't know. But okay, I'll sit here and be ready. So I'm sitting there looking and looking and looking and waiting. Nothing. Like 45 minutes go by. Nothing. Like the truck's already taken off. And sitting there looking around. You know, 45 minutes went by. And There's nothing coming. It either went up this ridge or down that ridge. So I lit up a cigarette. I was doing everything that you're not supposed to do. I wasn't going to stay in that spot too much longer. So I went down the creek a little bit and kind of washed my hands off a little bit, and took a drink of water out of my backpack, and sitting there, and all of a sudden I heard something. So I turned around and I got ready. Still had a cigarette in my mouth, and all of a sudden this deer was 20 yards away from me. I could see the body, but I couldn't see the head or anything. There was a big tree in the way. So I sat there and I put the bead on him. Of course, I had open sights and no scope or anything. So I put the bead down on him. I'm sitting there and I started getting the shakes. If anybody's ever went deer hunting before, you know what I'm talking about. I think they call it buck fever. I started getting the shakes a little bit, and I calmed myself down. And all of a sudden he raised his head up behind this tree. He was eating acorns or something down there. Raised his head up. I'm not kidding. I mean, this thing looked like freaking bullwinkle, man. It had a huge rack on him, and the body was just so huge. And okay. And of course, with black powder, if you've ever seen it on TV or shot one yourself, you know there's a lot of smoke. So I put the bead down on him, calmed myself down a little bit, took a shot. Smoke cleared. The deer was gone. Oh, crud. Well, you know, I'm up probably 10 feet up above the creek on the side of this ridge, and all of a sudden I heard something down in the creek. He was laying down there. I had shot him, and he was kind of trying to get up, and oh man, this isn't cool. You know, I hate to see animals suffer. So I used to use, well, I made my own speed loaders. I took I don't have any right here. I took black magic markers, pulled the cap, pulled the ink out, pulled the ink pad that's on the inside, pulled that out, and that's where I would measure my 70 or 80 grains. Depends on what bullet I was shooting, how much powder I put in there, but I would load it up, and I'd use that kind of as a speed loader. And I put that down in there, poured the powder in, got the ball started, got the ramrod, got it going, and got down on kind of close to him, probably too close to him. Took another shot. Okay. And of course that one didn't kill him. I hit him right in the lungs, but it still didn't kill him. He was trying to get up. I mean, this thing was just huge. Watching him try to get up, and he kept looking at me like he wanted to kill me, which I understand that. So I get the speed loader out, pour another load in, pop the ball and patch on there, pack it in, take another shot, and he's done. I said, okay, so I'm probably half a mile from our deer cabin down this creek, and it's a little bit more than a creek. It's power lines going up and down through the county there, and I was like, oh man, this is going to be a treat to get this thing out of here. So I got the rope hooked up to him, and I field dressed him and all that, and got the rope hooked up to him, started dragging him out. Now, if you remember, a year ago at this point, I was barely able to walk. So this alone was pretty amazing to me. And I drug him 20 or 30 yards, and it was like, man, this thing is huge. I had no other way to get him back besides the rope. So I went back to my deer cabin. I was going to wait for my uncle and my cousin to come down off the hill, which if this deer had continued on the same path that it was going on, it would have went straight to my uncle's tree stand. So I go back. We'll wait for those guys to come back from lunch, or for lunch, and or at least I was going to grab a truck and take it around the side of the ridge and try to get my uncle's attention up there. And got back to the cabin, and they were still sitting there. Hadn't moved from breakfast. So I thought you guys were going up on the hill. They said, well, we changed our minds. I said, all right. I said, well, I got a deer down there. They said, well, we didn't hear you shooting. I said, yeah, I shot 3 times. They said, well, we heard somebody with a rifle. You know, we heard bang, bang, bang. They said it was that quick. I seriously doubt it, but they said it was that quick. I said, no, that was me. I shot 3 times. They said, you took your shotgun? I said, no, I got my muzzle loader. It's down in the bottom of the cabin. They said, no, this is a rifle. Well, whatever, I got a dead deer down here. I need help with it. And of course, my uncle's older, and my cousin, second cousin, is actually my uncle's cousin. You know, at this time, they're both in their late 50s, early 60s. I can't remember. But neither one of them is in real good physical condition either. So we get down there, and they were like, oh my God, where was he? And I told them. My uncle just looked at me and said, you killed my deer. I said, no, I didn't. I killed my deer, bud. He's like, no, when we get back to the cabin, I got something I want to show you. So it took us about an hour to get that back to the cabin. And it was some people might call it a 10-point, it's a 12-point buck. My uncle showed me the last 3 years worth of drops off of this deer. You hold them up to the deer, and they were identical, only had less points on the drops. My uncle had retrieved the last 3 years worth of drops off of this deer, so he always called that my deer, meaning his deer. But I got it mounted. I'm going to take a video and attach it to this. But I appreciate it. Listen to my story. So when you think there's something you can't do, man, you can always ask somebody for help.